Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer for Breeders' Cup Focus. In this edition, we're going to take a look at the major contenders for the mile as ranked by daily racing form. Here are our top five. Now, Palace Pier is listed as number one, and deservedly so. He's had a tremendous campaign in Europe. His status right now for the Breeders' Cup Mile must be considered highly questionable. There are rumors that he's already been retired. So let's talk a little bit about some of the others in here. If Palace Pier doesn't show up, Space Blues, he's pretty good in his own right, Mike. He's won group stakes races in his last two, but I wonder if he's a miler.
I think that's the real question that I would have as well. It does sort of feel like, though, if nothing else, Dan, he's going to come into this race in really good form. His last two races were both very strong performances. Going seven, getting seven over there seems like it's pretty comparable to getting the flat mile over here.
One of the leading lights based in North America is Mo Forza, who's been battling it out with Smooth Like Straight and Hit the Road. And we're going to take a look at the stretch run for the City of Hope Mile. Now, check out Daily Racing Form's prep race recap. We take a look at the full race of the City of Hope and we talk about trips. You'll see Mo Forza on his left lead get the job done. He's a very likable horse who's won 8 out of his last 9. You could argue, though, that Hit the Road had a lot more traffic and is more of an interesting horse at a price in the Breeders' Cup.
He might be. That was certainly how I looked at it. On the other hand, Dan, Mo Forza is just really, really hard to knock. That race that we just watched there, I don't think it was, the most impressive win in the world, but it was another win for this horse who tends to show up every time they run him at a mile. He just wins those races. This is his home track. He's got a nice tactical running style. I mean, there's plenty to like here. We'll see which Europeans show up and see how hard they make it on him.
Smooth Like Straight looks to be one of the primary pace setters in the mile, and he is just a hard hitter. He's been on the board, I believe, in his last 9 starts, and when he loses, he doesn't lose by much. It's usually by less than a length. Mo Forza beat him in his last 2, but he'll bring 5 consecutive triple-digit buyers to the fray, and he's run very well at Del Mar in the past.
He has. He shows up every time. I greatly respect his early speed as well. You know where he's going to be early in the race. They're going to try to make the lead with this horse and then just see if he can hold on. He's one of those horses that I've never been able to really latch onto because it seems like he comes up short as often as he wins, but he's a very dangerous horse with his speed.
If you're looking for a horse that's getting good at the right time, look no further than In Love, who's won 3 races in a row and in the course of about 2.5 months has gone from a 2 other than winner to a grade 1 winner. Let's watch his score in the Keeneland Turf Mile. This is a nice performance at a big price, Mike. He earns a 103 buyer speed figure. Yes, there was some give in the ground, and maybe that's what he prefers. He likely won't get that at Del Mar, but he's good right now.
He's really good right now. I'm just going from strength to strength right now for a very underrated trainer. He was much the best in this race. Did he get a perfect trip in this race? He did. But he always looked like he was going to run. And once they wheeled him clear in the stretch, he had no problem running that field down. This horse is coming into the toughest race of his life in the best form of his life.
Mother Earth goes out for trainer Aidan O'Brien. We saw her in last year's Breeders' Cup when she was second to Aunt Pearl in the Juvenile Fillies Turf. It was a useful performance. She is a Group 1 winner this year in France. I have to admit, I kind of think she's a little bit exposed. I'm not sure if she's going to beat top males in a Group 1 going a mile. And I think she's another one that likes a little give in the ground.
Yeah, I don't know how much I like her in this race either. Although I do think when they shipped her over last year for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf, I thought she ran great that day with really no chance to win. I thought she was a good second in that race. She's a multiple Group 1 winner this year. But I personally don't love her last 2 races, in particular the 1-2 back when she got beat in that Sun Chariot. I didn't think she ran that well that day.
Charlie Appleby and Godolphin have just about won everything this year with European shippers. Master of the Seas is a 3-year-old who missed by a nose in the 2000 Guineas. This horse had a trip, I thought, 2 starts back, first time against older horses, and last time out in the QE2, I think just hated the soft ground. I think he's a sleeper.
I do too. Very tough. Not only the soft ground last time, just a very, very tough field he was in last time. I wouldn't hold that race against him. He feels like he could really improve.
Mike, is Ivar the kind of horse that's going to cycle to his best? He ran fourth in the Keeneland Turf Mile that we just saw you, but it was his first race since May, and he's only raced now twice since last year's Breeders' Cup Mile. He has run some fast races in the past, and maybe the whole plan ever since last year's Breeders' Cup Mile is let's work backwards and get him into this race, maybe second, third off a form cycle.
Yeah, maybe that's a valid way to look at this horse. We'll see if he can get back to one of his really good races, which I guess would give him a chance. I think it really all depends on which Europeans show up. I know he ran some fast races last year, Dan. I personally didn't love either his Breeders' Cup or his Shadwell Turf. He ran fine in those races, but he didn't do anything to make me want to bet him back this year.
We'll see if Palace Pier shows up. If he does, he's going to be very, very tough against this field with the probables right now. I'm very curious to see how the other major European entrant and Stace Blues does, stretching out to a mile for Appleby and Godolphin. This mile looks like it's going to be a very strong betting race.